What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 10-7 MMA channel. And we are very happy to be back today because we had a very fun fight over the weekend. But more importantly, or equally as important, I would say, we got UFC 320. We're finally back to the numbered events after a massive hiatus. I feel like it's been so long. We had the last numbered event in August that I went to, August 16th. And now we have our next numbered event finally. It's like a month and a half later, which is pretty crazy. How often is it, do you think, that numbered fights are this spread out where it's like 6 weeks out?
Hey, man, I just think it goes to where when these matchups, when we can get these good matchups going, man. And unfortunately for us, that it looks like this is the time, and I'm really looking forward to it.
I cannot wait. Now, fortunately and unfortunately, right? I love doing the Fusion Fight League shows, but I got a Fusion Fight League show this weekend. Unfortunately, Justin won't be able to make it, but I'm flying back Saturday. And I'm going to be in the air for a lot of UFC 320. I think I'll land in time for the main event, but I'm going to try and stream it from my phone. And hopefully the ESPN app will work and all that stuff. And I have been able to do it before, so let's just hope it works out. And I'll watch the majority of 320 on the flight. But we're going to talk about 320 today because, man, it is a good card, especially the main card. So it's pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to checking it out. All right, let's get into the mix because I want to start right off the bat with what happened over last weekend. We had this tremendous victory by Carlos Ulberg. He gets the KO in round one. But Justin, it's your turn to gloat as you talk about this fight because it pretty much happened as you predicted, with the exception of it wasn't a knockout after, let's say, Reyes threw a straight left and dropped his right, but it was the shot that you predicted that put him to the ground. So Justin, why don't you take it away and give us a recap of that fight and that outcome?
Man, it's such a bummer, man. I'm such a Dominic Reyes fan. And as I always talk about, I love the resurgence of fighters. Obviously, he was on a resurgence, getting 3 wins in a row. But Ulberg, I just thought, was a little bit more dynamic. I thought he had a couple extra weapons than Dominic Reyes has. As I mentioned in my video, as we mentioned on the show before, Dominic Reyes' best weapon is his left hand. So when you're one-dimensional like that, when I say it was left hand, it's straight left uppercut, left overhand. When you're one-dimensional like that, and you just have that one big weapon. So a lot of people, and again, I compare it to myself. Well, a lot of people, even when I was fighting Gavin Tucker, my best weapon is my left hand as well, my left hook or my left uppercut, because I can generate so much power. And I remember when I was fighting Gavin Tucker, I could hear his corner, all you have to do is watch out for the left, especially once I get tired. And I thought once Dominic Reyes got tired, he's going to try to rely on that one shot a little bit too much. And unfortunately for Dominic Reyes, man, Ulberg was the better man that night. He's more dynamic. He's on a 9-fight win streak right now. He deserves a title shot. Let's go, Ulberg. I'm a big Carlos Ulberg fan. I wanted Reyes to win just because of the resurgence story behind it. But man, as I predicted, knockout by Ulberg.
I looked back. I made another video. I made a reaction video late last night as well, and I released it as well just because I wanted to give my take. I was super impressed with the distance management, and I wanted to hear your take on all those little intricacies. I looked at the fight stats and it said Dominic Reyes landed 5 of 11 significant strikes, but I felt like that didn't make sense because it looked like he basically didn't land at all. So Carlos Ulberg, to me, was doing this crazy distance management thing where he wasn't even trying to put his hands up to block. He just always was just able to just like lean back and get out of the way. Did you notice that as well? This incredible distance management?
Yeah, man. Like I said, I talked about in the video, his distance management behind his jab. Because remember, while you're throwing, a lot of guys don't understand, like when you're throwing your jab, it's not always meant to land and do damage. Obviously, we do want to land and we do want to do damage, but a lot of time it's measuring because your cross or your overhand is going to be a little bit longer than your jab. So if I can put you in a comfortable range to where I'm throwing my jab, but I'm landing it, like, say, right in front of your face, in my head, I can tell, okay, I'm not landing my jab, but I know my cross will land. I know my hook will land because they're a little bit longer, more powerful strikes. Ulberg does a great job standing behind. Now, with that being said as well, if I'm not landing my jab and I'm that long fighter, and they were both 6'4" coming into this fight, but when you have that kind of distance management like you're talking about, we know that we're right at the edge of, getting landed a cross or getting landed a kick. So you can stay behind that lead hand, especially in orthodox to a southpaw, and know you're not going to get hit with those longer strikes.
They're both 6'4", and if I'm not mistaken, they both had identical or near identical reach, because the commentators said that, yet they said because of that distance management, masterful display by Ulberg. I guess you're saying the measuring with the jab and him just stepping out of range, it looked like Ulberg had a range advantage, but he didn't. Do you think if the fight had gone on to rounds 2, 3, and 4, do you think eventually it was likely that Dominic Reyes was going to figure out how to get inside, how to make contact? Or do you think this is something that the skill gap was too great? Carlos Ulberg, the super seasoned kickboxer like Dominic Reyes, just wasn't going to be able to connect. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the longer the fight went, the worse it was going to go for Reyes, because a lot of times when you're fighting somebody that kind of distant management, is you start to get frustrated, you start to get desperate, so you start to expose yourself more, because you're going to open up a little bit more, trying to land bigger shots. And I think Ulberg was anticipating that. And I think Ulberg was going to take full advantage of Reyes got a little reckless there. I got to let my dog out. Give me 1 second.
Go for it. By the way, we got a comment from a name that I shall not say. It's a very funny name. Justin shouts it out. And by the way, says that Justin called the KO. Yes, he did. And it was a great call. It was basically with that exact same shot that Justin called. But that shot was obviously the one that put laughing emoji, crying laughing emoji. So that was definitely the shot that put him down. But Justin, can you talk about the power that Ulberg had in the jab in the first shot that connected? Because it was a very powerful jab. It was perfectly placed, and it got him right on the chin. And it was like it went one way, and then the other shot came over and just boom. It was just perfect. Talk about the jab. Was that an impressive jab that first landed?
I mean, yeah, it was a very impressive jab, but again, it wasn't like it's nothing he's done before. It's something that he's done before. He has a great jab, and like I said before, Ulberg's best weapon, his distance management. And if I had to say one strike was his best weapon, it's going to be between his catch left hook and his jab. But he sets his catch left hook off his jab. So a lot of times he'll be really stepping in with that long jab, and then guys will start to parry it, and then he'll kind of just sneak around and land that left hook. And I mean, it's a masterclass done by him behind the jab.
I think there was also a noticeable, I know probably not a lot of people are talking about the kicks, but I just felt like I noticed a strong difference between the kicks, the power, the accuracy between Ulberg and Reyes. I know Reyes does like to kick, and he did try and throw a couple kicks, but again, Ulberg just maneuvered out of the way and didn't even get touched. But when they did land, I felt like those leg kicks from Ulberg were a lot more impactful. I mean, it really feels like we're seeing a second coming of a similar type of Alex Pereira type of fighter. And that makes him very exciting to me. And since we have this Alex Pereira fight, Ankalaev fight coming up this weekend, I just think it was such a cool victory. Now, I'll tell you something crazy. You know what Carlos Ulberg is asking? And by the way, I see you, Barat, in here. I'm going to show your comment in a second. You know what Ulberg asked McMaynard? He wants to be the backup fighter for Ankalaev versus Pereira this weekend. And he's saying that if he says never, and I think he might be right. He said, I don't think it's ever happened where a fighter's had a fight one weekend, weighed in as the backup fighter, like somebody falls out and then takes a championship fight the next week. That would be crazy if that happens. But I just like the ambition, and I like the fact that he wants to get back in there and contend for this title. So very, very exciting. Barat says, what did you guys think of the main card? To be honest, I watched this fight, and I watched some clips of what's his name, the guy who trains out of Australia, Colby Thickness. I'm interested in Colby Thickness and his career and his potential, but really I got to be honest. Maybe we're casuals, but we really just wanted to focus on that main event. That's the one that I was anticipating. But obviously, I heard it was overall a very good card. So there you go. Mark my words, Merab is going to beat Sandhagen. We're going to talk about this fight in a second. Three amazing fights on this card. And Pern says, evening, everyone. What's up, Pern? Welcome.
We haven't seen Pern in a long time, man. Welcome back, Pern.
Well, Pern has been commenting on the videos and the longer form content videos. So Pern is still around, still doing his thing. Very much appreciate you and your continued support over this last 2.5 years. Now, let's get into the main event for this weekend. Pereira versus Ankalaev. And Justin, I'm sure we'll be doing a breakdown video this week. He could do a bunch of breakdown videos, actually, if he has the time, because we got the co-main is an incredible fight, and the third fight. Co-main, what's that?
Who's the co-main?
Your boy, Merab
Merab?
versus
Oh,
Sandhagen.
okay, bet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then we got Khalil Rountree versus Jiri Prohaska. So I think all of these will be great. In particular, the main ones will be, I want to see the Pereira versus Ankalaev breakdown, and then Merab versus Sandhagen. But let's talk about Pereira versus Ankalaev. A lot of people are saying a lot of different things about how this rematch is going to go. I hear folks on one end of the spectrum saying Ankalaev is gonna do even more damage, is gonna get the better of him even more so than the first time. I know other people are saying no, but Pereira was off doing all these side quests and he wasn't focused, and now he's gonna be focused, and now it's gonna be a different fight. Also, I think his coach Pino, or however you say his name, said that he was dealing with some things that they haven't really fully disclosed, but they're saying it wasn't the full Pereira. Justin, turning it over to you, based on the first fight, based on the noise, what people are saying, what do you anticipate?
Man, I anticipate Pereira to come in and make some big changes. Do I think it's going to be enough? Probably not. I'm going to be honest. Ankalaev looked incredible his first fight. I want Pereira to live. I'm not an Ankalaev fan. I'm not saying he's a bad fighter or anything. I just don't relate to him. I don't. Again, does he? I don't even think he speaks English, man. And when these guys, I know Pereira doesn't either, but when Pereira's doing like these side missions, and you can get a glimpse at his personality, and when you see like when him and Sean Strickland, they fought, and he knocked Sean out. Sean has been his buddy, and you get to see that. You get to see his personality, regardless that he does. And that's the other thing I like about Pereira, man. The guy doesn't even speak English, and I root for him because I get to watch him do these side missions, because he's growing a fan base, out of the cage. Ankalaev, on the other hand, to me, he's just another Russian fighter that has no personality, and I just don't care to see him in the spotlight. Is he a great champion? Of course. Is he a great fighter? Of course. Is he a great person? Probably. But again, I have no relation to him outside of him fighting. I don't see his interviews. I don't see his press conference. He's just another boring Russian fighter. And when I say boring, I'm not saying his style is boring. I'm not saying he's a boring fighter. I'm just saying he's a boring personality. He doesn't catch me in the interviews. He doesn't catch me in the press conference. He doesn't catch me in his post-fight, smack talk. Like I just don't care. And Pereira marks all those boxes for me. So I really hope we can see a resurgence of Pereira. Unfortunately, I just don't see it happening.
All right, fair enough. And you know what? I guess I had a shocked reaction when you said that, but I kind of feel I'm leaning the same way with a much less informed position than you. I mean, obviously you're much more expert in terms of breaking down the fights and the fight styles, but that seems to be the consensus of most people, is that Pereira is going to have an uphill battle. But man, if he could pull it off, how incredible would that be? So I guess we shall see, but it's going to be a fun fight. That's for sure. I'm also very curious to see how Ankalaev once again weaves in the takedowns and the grappling and whatnot against Pereira, but we shall see. Very, very exciting matchup. And we'll talk more about it on Friday, especially after the weigh-ins. I know we talked earlier about the massive amount of weight that Pereira has to cut. So we'll see how that plays into everything. Okay, let's get to the co-main, because I know you have probably a lot to say about this. And man, I'm getting really excited because I've been watching Corey Sandhagen interviews, and I do love Corey Sandhagen interviews. The guy's so intellectual. I love the way he approaches the fight game as personal challenges. He's like not at all concerned with getting favorable matchups. He wants to test himself at every corner. And to me, that embodies what I admire in the fight game, of people who are out there understanding it's not necessarily about I have to win every fight, or I have to do this, or I have to achieve this. It's no, every fight is an opportunity to test my spirit, to test my soul, to test my body. And I'm going to come out as a better person from this experience, win, lose, or draw. I love that mindset, because I feel similarly about just taking on challenges and pushing yourself in general, whether it's business, whether it's fitness, whatever. And so I don't know, I'm just such a fan of Corey Sandhagen and that mindset that he continues to showcase in all his interviews. We're going to read a couple of comments, and then Justin, I want you to break down this fight, because I'm really, really freaking out about this matchup. I'm so curious to see how it's going to go. Pern says, work is killing me. Barat says, why only 2 fights? I mean, I don't know. There weren't, he's talking about the fights that I watched. I was kind of curious to see Neil Magny. I don't know. I had a long work day. I know it's excuses. And I also had dinner plans with my girlfriend. So I didn't want to like bombard her watching all these fights. So she watched the Ulberg main event with me. It was a short fight. That was it. And I let the rest of the evening be. So I guess that's it. Call me a casual. Pereira is learning English. I know. I saw him doing English with Nina Drama. How incredible would it be if both of these guys come out speaking English? That'd be so cool. And Pern says, I want Poatan to win. I got to admit, I do too. Let's see what happens. But all right, Justin, let me turn it over to you. Merab versus Sandhagen. Take it away.
Man, I'm a fan of both of these guys. This is one of those fights where I don't want to see either of them lose. I think Sandhagen has a really good chance for Merab because he has great strikes coming up the middle. If you remember when he fought Frankie Edgar, we talked about that teep kick coming up the middle. Unfortunately, does he have a chance to knock Merab out? Absolutely. But unfortunately, keeping up with the pace of Merab is going to be something that he's never had to deal with before. Because if Merab misses a shot, he's going to shoot again. He's going to shoot again. He's going to shoot again. There's no amount of takedowns Sandhagen's stuff that is going to deter Merab from trying to take him down. Now, again, with those strikes coming up the middle, whether it's a teep kick, whether it's a knee, whether it's an uppercut, I think Sandhagen has incredible up the middle strikes that can present some problems for Merab. Unfortunately, Merab is the greatest bantamweight of all time, and his output is just going to be too much for Corey Sandhagen.
All right, so I wanted to tell you a couple things that I heard Corey Sandhagen say in interviews about Merab and about himself. So one thing he said is, people are saying that Merab wears down opponents. He says, I've been in so many main events and I've fought so many times in the 5-round format, and he's like, I don't remember the last time I got tired. So he says, good luck to Merab getting me tired. It's not going to happen. And then he also said another thing about Merab and why you said, hey, anybody can get knocked out. But he said another thing about Merab. The reason why he's very difficult to knock out is because of the way he fights, and because a lot of times, and you would be more expert than me on this, but apparently I guess the way he moves backwards a lot. So the shots are never like him coming in and boom, getting a full connection. And that's one of the reasons why he's so hard to knock out. I'd love to hear your thoughts on both of those comments. First, Corey Sandhagen saying, hey, he's not going to tire me out. And second, saying that Merab is very difficult because of the way he moves.
Sandhagen has been in there for 5 rounds, but then again, he's never had someone with the output that Merab has. It's easy. I can't imagine. This is how what Sandhagen's going to have to do in his camps. Like, he's going to have to bring in some collegiate wrestlers and have a fresh guy on him every round. What I mean by that is, if he's doing 5 rounds of sparring, he needs a new partner every round. And those guys only should be going 1 round. And that's 1 round with Sandhagen. So it'd be, for instance, if say you're Sandhagen and you're getting ready for Merab, you need to go with me the first round. You need to go with another collegiate wrestler the second round, another one the third round, another one the fourth round, another one the fifth round. With that being said, so these guys have all their energy and they're going to blitz you for 5 minutes straight, because nobody, if he has a guy coming in, hey, give me a Merab look to go 25 minutes, it's just not going to work out that way. We call this Shark Tank. Sandhagen's going to have to put himself through the grinder. He's going to have to put himself through, there's a guy, Merab, or not Merab, what the fuck's his name? I'm blanking on his name right now. Mads Burnell, man. This guy goes 10 rounds straight at Extreme Couture. And, he has a fresh guy on him every single round when he goes. Sandhagen's going to have to put that kind of camp behind him. Now, yes, he has went 25 minutes before, and he's like, oh, nobody's ever getting me tired. But again, Merab's a different animal now. What was the second question you had?
So he also said that Merab, one of the reasons why we don't barely ever see Merab get knocked out is because the way he fights, he's moving backwards a lot. He's not coming in or leaping in. I mean, with the, obviously not including takedown attempts or whatnot, but so that makes it difficult to connect with a blunt shot to deliver the force to knock him out. Do you agree with that take?
Yeah, because Merab plays off his back foot. But here's the thing. Merab plays off his back foot until he doesn't. So it's really hard to time that shot. When guys constantly are coming forward, it's easy. But Merab isn't. He's going left. He's going right. He's backing up. And then when he gets you in that false sense of confidence that you can come forward, that's when he's going to shoot. And I think it's really hard to time.
Who do you think that Sandhagen is significantly better in terms of his grappling and anti-grappling than Sean O'Malley, or do you think they're roughly equivalent?
I think they're roughly equivalent.
Oof. Okay. And if you had, well, I know you're a big fan of Merab and you're a big fan of both guys, but if you had to make a prediction at this point, I know you haven't watched the footage yet carefully, and I'm sure you'll make a detailed breakdown later, but what's your gut right now?
Merab by decision.
Woo! Okay, we'll see.
49-46.
I'm excited to see that because, as I've mentioned before, I love to see dominance. I love to see legacy being established. I mean, this is getting up there now. He's beaten Sean O'Malley twice. He's beaten Umar, which is a huge win, by the way. I think it would have even more gravity if Umar had been around a little bit longer, but that's a very big win. Now, if he beats Corey, oh my God, it's pretty crazy. So yeah, his resume is becoming almost untouchable in the bantamweight division. So I'm very excited. This has a lot of stakes. I think it's going to be a fun fight too. I think it's going to be action-packed, so looking forward to it. All right, now we move on to the third fight at UFC 320. Holy smokes. Justin, what do you think? Just rank this one in terms of excitement let's say action level. What's your anticipation for the action level 1 to 10 for this fight?
Striker's delight, man. I mean, Rountree. The thing with Jiri is, I think Yuri's a good fighter. I do like Jiri, but he does a lot of weird, unorthodox things when it comes to training, when it comes to his preparation. I don't think he's improving enough to beat Rountree. I have Rountree by knockout.
What about his seemingly newfound head movement when he fought Jamal Hill? That wasn't that impressive to you? That he seemed like for once he was finally really engaging in the head movement?
I just think, just because he does it once doesn't mean it's not a tendency. You understand? Like sometimes you go into fights and you practice something for a whole camp and it works out that camp, but then you go into your next camp and you're changing the game plan. So you go back to old tendencies. Rountree, he just looks so good every fight. Like every time I watch Rountree fight, I just feel he's improving. And I do like Jiri. I do like his, how he's so unorthodox mentally and physically. But then again, I just think Rountree is going to be too much for him.
I really like both of these fighters. I'm kind of happy regardless of how it goes. I just want to see a great fight. And it would be cool to see Rountree go up there. I know he's got a very traditional Muay Thai style. I'd love to see him. I'd love the rematch for Alex Pereira. I'd like to see him instead go up and challenge Magomed Ankalaev if Magomed Ankalaev wins. So I think it's a really cool fight on the card, especially right before, you know what I mean? Right. 2 fights earlier than the main event. So we shall see. And this is UFC 320, guys. We're going to be making videos, a bunch of videos this week. I think this is a phenomenal card, at least those 3 top fights, but there's more fights on this card that are great as well. So be on the lookout for that. And let us know in the comments if there's anything in particular you want to see Justin break down and analyze. But now we're going to get into some other fun stories, more, I guess you could say, MMA news stories, MMA gossip stories. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But the first one is involving your teammate, Justin. And this is a story. I actually just made a video on this earlier today. And this one is interesting because it actually has to do with 2 guys that you know and respect quite a bit. So I don't know if you have an opinion on this, and I don't want to, obviously, I'm not trying to throw you under the bus or reveal anything that any personal conversations you've had, but just kind of getting your thoughts. The reason why I think this is an interesting situation is Derek Moneyberg, just to give everybody the summation of what's going on if you haven't heard. Derek Moneyberg is now suing Sean Strickland for statements that he made on a video and statements that he made saying that Derek Moneyberg is a scam artist. Now, I kind of saw this coming to some extent because when Sean first came out and made these comments, I made a video and I reiterated these same points in the video I made this morning. That when Sean was talking, I felt like he wasn't really saying anything substantive. He was basically just calling him a scam artist and saying he tried to pay me money, but didn't say for what. Didn't say what he's trying to push. And I know Derek Moneyberg has a course, and I know there's the BJJ black belt allegation, but those are 2 separate things. If you want to call BS on the BJJ black belt because it's such a short time frame and you're an expert in martial arts, like I get that. But then I didn't really understand why he was going after his course without any specifics, because it's not how you should speak about things. If you're going to go after somebody's business and livelihood, you should, I think, do your homework and you should make clear, definitive statements about what you're alleging. And he didn't do it. And so I'm kind of not surprised. Not saying I know Derek Moneyberg or think his course is great. I don't know anything about his program, but I'm kind of not surprised that something like this has happened, because I had that feeling that Sean, didn't really think he knew what he was talking about when that happened. Okay, now the other side of the coin that I think this is interesting to get Justin's take is because Justin is also tight with Jake Shields, and Jake Shields is part of this equation. Jake Shields is friends with Derek Moneyberg, and he came out in a tweet today or yesterday supporting Derek Moneyberg and actually going at Sean Strickland. He says, listen, man, I told you this guy, he can grapple. He's legit. I told you to grapple with him yourself and you wouldn't do it, which I thought was odd. And on top of that, yes, our relationship has nothing to do with money. But I do like the guy. And then the last thing he ended on, but he says, Sean, this is what you do to people. And this is why, despite how famous you are, this is why, and he said some harsh things. I don't know if people are talking about it at the gym, but he said, this is why you have no friends, despite being famous. So it's kind of, it was a harsh statement. I know you're tight with both of these guys, so that's a lot of information to process. But let me turn it over to you, to get your first thoughts and initial reactions on this beef.
I'll be honest, man. I saw Jake yesterday, or it was either yesterday or the day before, or no, yesterday was Sunday. So it was either Friday or Saturday. I was a fly on a wall listening to him talk about Moneyberg. I saw Sean this morning. You're going to hate this answer, man. I just can't. I just can't.
No,
I just
no,
can't talk about it.
no, I don't hate
I've
it.
already got in trouble enough for, being a fly on the wall and hearing stuff and
I don't hate
mentioning
it.
it. I hate it because I have a lot I want to say about it. And I've heard, again, guys are talking. Me and Shields is Jake Shields is one of my coaches. Sean, dude, as much as Sean and I have had beef in the past, but I really like Sean, man. And
Yeah.
and I don't want to say anything bad about him. I don't know enough about it. Again, I've heard Jake talk to somebody else about it the other day. I think he was talking to Nixick. But I just don't want to put my opinion in this, man. I don't want to get any backlash.
I totally get that. I just want to throw it out to see if you had anything that you want to add or say. Let me just say this as we end. And again, I don't know Sean like you do at all. And I'm not all I'm saying is from what I observed immediately, I had the reaction of he's not really saying anything. So I thought the statements that he was making were out of place. I also found it weird that he invited Derek Moneyberg to have a conversation and then immediately started filming. Like I like just as a human being, I don't know what his goal was there because it served no purpose. As soon as he started filming, Derek Moneyberg was like, I thought you said you want to have a private conversation. And he walked away. Like that to me didn't make Derek look bad. That I was like, why would you do that to somebody? Why would you ambush them like that? It was kind of bizarre. So anyways, that was my feeling from the get-go. Now that the defamation suit seems to be happening, I'm not surprised. But what it does say to me is that I think that there might actually be some legitimacy because you're not going to file a defamation suit if there's going to be bad stuff that's going to come out about you, because once discovery goes down, they're going to have to open up everything. So I imagine Derek is confident with the information being on his side. We shall see how it unfolds, but it's a lot of drama in the world of mixed martial arts, and we shall see. I know it probably sucks that you got two people that you're super close with maybe that are going against each other, but we're going to leave Justin out of it. We're not going to get his thoughts. We're not going to get his comments. Let's move on. Hey, Terrence is here. What's up? He says, what's up, boys? Welcome to the show. Great to have you back as always. And we've got Burnell is the last Danish beast once.
Who are your favorite? I got two fighters that are very close friends of mine. And I tell you what, the Danish fighters are some of the best guys you could ever meet. Martin Kampmann, guys, he's cornered me in fights. He flew out to Michigan, cornered me in Michigan, stayed at my house for a week, took him deer hunting. You got Mads Burnell that have given me so many ass whoopings in the gym, but these guys are so awesome. They're so humble, and there's such a plethora of knowledge that they want to just expose to everybody. And I tell you what, the Danish fighters are some of the best fighters I could ever. Right now, Martin Kampmann is in Georgia, the country of Georgia. I have a girl fighter fighting out in Georgia right now. Her name's Lahua. She's doing a tournament out there. I saw Martin was out there. I reached out to him. I'm like, hey, man, like I got a girl out there. I couldn't afford to go out there. Can you please help me out? We ended up doing a group conversation. He ended up linking with her, and he's just messaging her, they end up meeting up, and anything you can do. And I just tell you what, the Danish people are just so awesome through and through, and I have nothing but good things to say about them.
Very, very cool. We got some more comments. Pern says he's not a fan of Jiri. I don't get that. Jiri's like you find it cringy.
I find it a little cringy too. I'm not saying it's really cringy, but it's just like this whole samurai thing. Like, I mean, it's a good story. And it's a good it's a good thing, to get interest about you. But when it comes from a mental and physical standpoint, I just don't think that why isn't John Jones a samurai? Why isn't all these other guys, and people are like, oh, well, this is the best thing because yours winning fights. Like, remember, as people thought karate was going to be incredible when, Lyoto Machida came on the scene and had this great karate style and this and that. But, I think it's just a one-hit wonder here.
I just think Jiri is being, the thing that I like about it is he's doing it not for any, I don't think for any show or outward display. I don't think
that. I agree with you.
Yeah, he's just like, dude, Jiri's such an authentic guy. So that's why I love everything about Jiri. I don't know. I mean, hey, to each his own. I guess I get that. But dude, I'm such a fan of the human being that is Jiri. I think he's an unbelievable role model. I think his fight style is incredible. Dude, he's a star, dude. He's a superstar. If he could have held that belt a little bit longer, dude, I think he could have blown up to such a he still can. He still can. Anyways, we got Emir is back in the mix. Ulberg can definitely catch Ankalaev. I agree. I mean, just same. So can Pereira. And Tehran also is giving you props. Justin, you called Ulberg knockout Dom. I mean, dude, you got to do more prediction videos. That was cool, man. You really broke it down and really got it right on. You really nailed it right on the head. Hey, Vlad the Kebabber, we haven't seen you, dog. Where have you been? Welcome back, though. At least Jiri shaved that stick on his head. Oh,
yeah, we used to have like the ponytail in the back.
That. What's up with that? That was cool. Jiri is Jiri. We got to let Jiri be Jiri, man. He's the man. Okay, now we're going to move along to another little fun news story. This one's super weird. So Conor, in a recent clip, and I got the clip here, I'm going to play it for you, but he claims, I'm negotiating with the U.S. Because remember, I made a video. He asked for 100 golden visas. I'm like, why is he asking for golden visas from the UFC? They can't do that. And then he asked for that crazy 100 million as well. And I'm like, is he trying to price himself? What's happening? Or I made a video that said, is he insane or is he genius? Like, does he know things that we don't know? Well, he gave more clarification after a BKFC event, I think over the weekend. So listen to this clip, and I don't know. I guess we can react to it, but I still feel it's a little bizarre. Check this out.
You know, I'm not negotiating with the UFC on behalf of myself for this fight like usual. I'm negotiating with the United States of America on behalf of Ireland for this fight. So it's a peculiar one. But Trump and the administration have been fully supportive and backing, and I cannot wait to put on the show.
The White House card.
You know,
Justin, I don't understand this, because he's saying he's negotiating with the White House. What is he talking about? Is he talking about just to show up? Is he talking about the payment? And then how is is he just making stuff up? Or how would the U.S. be involved in any sort of payment negotiation? Or maybe they are. Is the federal government footing some of the bill? Like, what do you make of this?
Yeah, I tell you what, call him insane, call him crazy. I think he's a genius. I mean, you have to understand, Conor McGregor went from living in the slums of Ireland to the most high-paid MMA fighter of all time to date. The guy's a genius, man. And any kind of negotiation he has, whether it's with Donald Trump, whether it's with other forms of the government or the UFC, the guy is a pure genius. He hasn't won a fight since 2022. We're still talking about him. He's still making money. He's still rich. Call him insane. I call him a mastermind.
It's just like, it's a little wild to me, though, because, for example, if it was some actual negotiation with the U.S., that would mean what? Federal tax dollars are going to be used for this payment, which obviously would not. There's no way that would. I mean, actually, maybe it could, right? It's a federally sponsored event. They're having it during a particular celebration. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. And you're right. Look, Conor's done things that nobody else has done, so we have to give credit where credit's due, but it was just a very bizarre statement. And again, I thought the request for 100 golden visas was insane, but like I said, it may be a genius play. Maybe he gets both 100 milli, 100 golden visas. He's ready to rock. Let's see what happens. All I care about is that this fight happens. I made the video over the weekend that got over 1,000 views. Check it out. Conor McInterrupter. But the whole moral of that entire video, the whole moral of the story was, at the end of the day, whatever it takes to get Conor McGregor back in the octagon, I'm down for it, because I want to see him return really badly. I think a lot of people, maybe Justin a little less than me, but
I want to see him return against the right opponent.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I just want to see him come back. I think it's cool. It'll be amazing. It'll be the cherry on top. Also, there's other news that I didn't put in here, but also Dana White did an interview with 60 Minutes. That was pretty cool that he finally got an interview like that for that old show. I used to watch that show growing up as a kid, so very, very cool. Oh, before we get into this topic, we got a couple of comments and then we'll get to it. I agree. Jiri is authentic. Let's go. Yes, and I have no reason to hate. Just not my kind of guy. I get that. Magomed Ulberg are both counter strikers with no power, so we might see a Derek Lewis Francis Ngannou type of fight between the two. Oh boy, well, that would not be fun.
Power turn? You really think? I think Ulberg has incredible power. To be honest, I think he has incredible shot knockout power.
Yeah, actually, I agree. Yeah, Tehran, if you want to expand on that a little bit as to why you think that, but I tend to agree with Justin. I mean, he's gotten so many first round KOs. I don't know, but maybe maybe you're speaking about something in particular. So let us know what you mean there. It's incredible he can keep himself in the conversation. It's wild that Conor McGregor is still basically like the most popular UFC athlete. How crazy is that? What, he just like transcended pop culture and just became a cemented icon. It's so bizarre. McGregor may be talking smack to create hype and attention on himself. Yeah, he might be. I mean, he does that. He tweets, he deletes, he does all this crazy stuff. And he sent, I meant with power, not no power.
Yeah. That makes sense.
He meant with power. Okay, that makes way more sense. Okay, yeah.
And I can see what Tehran means. Like, you get two great counter fighters in there. Neither of them want to commit. Neither of them want to get caught. And it could end up in a standoff. Yeah, I remember Francis Ngannou and Derek Lewis talk about a snooze fest. Wow, yeah. And I could see that happening. But with that being said, Ankalaev isn't very popular right now. I can see him getting more frustrated and Ulberg coming forward and getting clipped.
Oh, so many good fights in the light heavyweight division. All right, now let's get into topic number 7. I'm going to let Justin talk about this. Justin's boy, Patchy Mix, who apparently might be coming on the show soon. So that's going to be pretty cool. Maybe next week. Hopefully we'll cue that up. But Justin,
Try to get him today. Try to get him today.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. We'll get him soon, and that'd be amazing. So tell us about what's going on with Patchy Mix and his return.
Man, I want to talk about Patchy Mix for a hot second outside of the cage. Patchy Mix is one of my favorite fighters ever to come through Extreme Couture. The way he is so humble. I trained with him on Friday. I trained with him today. He was my last round today, and I remember thinking, like, I'm in pretty good shape right now. Patchy, one of the best guillotine guys in the whole gym. And my goal on Friday and today is like, I'm going to go with Patchy. And if he doesn't sub me, I'm going to ask him to come on the 10-7. And unfortunately, I got caught in a guillotine. I rolled to my back. I got caught in like 3 guillotines. The guy's incredible on guillotines. He caught me about 3 guillotines, a couple side chokes. And unfortunately, when I rolled to my back, he mounted me. And with my neck surgery, he was cranking on my neck so bad that I had to tap. And I was just so bummed about it. But you know what? Patchy puts his arm around me every time and says, hey, man, you're a freaking animal. You're a warrior. Keep working hard. You're one of my favorite guys to work with. And, man, I just have so much love and respect for Patchy Mix. And I think he got so much unneeded hate in his first match. By the way, Patchy Mix also told me that he is a fan of the 10-7. He watches our videos. Yeah, he's a fan of the 10-7. He watches our videos. And I'm like, yeah, a lot of people say that. But then he mentioned 2 or 3 videos that we've done. And
which one?
He talked about me when I talked about Nate Diaz. Should be fighting. Yeah, about Nate Diaz. How he's a dog. How he's always stepping up. And I can't remember the other one he said in particular, but I was just like, holy shit, man. So I asked him to come on the show today because he's fighting this weekend. He said not this week because he's in fight camp, but next week we'll arrange a time and he will come on. I have just so much love for this guy. And, you know, it's just when you have a superstar like Patchy come in and give his time to me on the mat, give me rounds on the mat, help me get better. It's just so awesome, man. He doesn't need to do that. And for him to come on and even talk about coming on the 10-7 just goes to show how much. And I asked him, like, hey, how much do I need to pay you? He's like, bro, nothing, man. Like, you don't need to pay me anything. I just want to come out and support. So much love for Patchy Mix. Anyways, he's coming on. You know, obviously he had a really rough showing in his first fight. But I tell you what, this is a fight we need to tune in for. He's making his second fight in the UFC against UFC newcomer Jacob Wicklays. Jacob, obviously incredible fighter. And here's a stat that you guys might not believe. Jacob is coming into this fight with a record of 16 wins and 3 losses, 2 draws. But here's the interesting statistic about this fight. 10 wins coming by way of submission. Out of his 16 wins, 10 are coming by way of submission. And I tell you what, he's on a 5-fight win streak right now. And a 6-fight win streak right now. You know, he's 6-1 in KSW. He's 1-1 in and ACB. But I tell you what, Patchy is one of the best grapplers that he could face. And coming into this fight, you know, to have that grappling base, that grappling background, it is going to be really tough for him to get by Patchy Mix. I'm really excited for the UFC to step back and be like, all right, we're going to give Patchy a good matchup. And I think this is a great matchup for Patchy Mix. This is going to be a grappling fest. But with that being said, Patchy has incredible striking. He had some incredible knockouts in Bellator. And I'm wondering if Patchy's game plan is to take the grappling game plan to this grappling heavy fighter, or am I going to try and knock him out on the feet? I don't want to expose Patchy Mix's game plan. I'm just really excited for this fight. And I don't have enough praise for Patchy Mix when it comes to this matchup.
And I take it you're picking 100% Patchy Mix for the victory?
Can't go against my teammate. The guy works too hard, works his ass off in every single day. I'm hoping Patchy, you know, gets a W in the UFC. He welcomes this newcomer to the UFC and welcomes him right by beating him at his own game.
Let's go. Okay, I can't wait for this fight. Another great fight this weekend that is going down. So we'll see. And then hopefully we get Patchy Mix on the show. Vlad the Kebabber says, you ever drink proper 12 apple? The apple flavor is strong. I have never touched any of those products. I always felt like, I don't drink alcohol anymore, by the way, just if you guys didn't know that I quit about 2.5 years ago drinking. But I never had a desire, even though I used to like whiskey and what's called scotch and different things like that, bourbon. I was a big fan of all of those liquors back in the day, but I just had a weird feeling that because the proper 12 was basically being marketed behind Conor, not the actual quality of the ingredients that it was probably a crappy product. And then I remember reviews came out about Proper 12, at least at the beginning, that it was not, I think it was from Business Insider, that it wasn't like the greatest whiskey. And I was like, I'm not surprised at that. You know what I mean? I just had a feeling. So I never ventured to try it. Now, that's not, now, maybe it's improved substantially since then, or maybe that was an unfair report. I don't know. But that's why I never wanted to try it. Now I don't drink, so not interested. Tehran says, have you guys seen Alex Pereira's new custom shorts? No, I've not, but I can't wait to see them. And Dariush BSD. Ooh, Dariush versus BSD. Benoit Saint Denis is on a tear right now, so I'd love to see that. That's pretty cool. Tehran, once again, always knows what's going down. Last topic, another little gossipy topic, I guess we could say. Wanderlei Silva gets brutally I mean, Justin made a video about this. You guys should check it. I think it's getting posted right now, or Louisa already just edited it, so I'm sure it's going to come out later today. So you can hear Justin's take on this knockout. But this is just crazy. First of all, Wanderlei Silva, dude, the guy's a nutcase, man. If you guys seen that season with The Ultimate Fighter when him and Chael have that fight, and then also he got knocked out by that Crazy Horse dude who I sat next to at the Jake Paul event. Crazy Horse is a complete lunatic, like yelling and screaming, and that guy somehow knocked out Wanderlei Silva. So he's like part of MMA lore and MMA history in so many weird ways. But then he comes into this fight 41 pounds overweight. I never heard of anything like that. And then I think he went back and cut, and I don't know how close he got, but that was like, that's just basically saying F you to everybody in the commission, right? Like, I've never heard of anything. It's so egregious. Then he gets into the boxing match, and then he's throwing crazy headbutts and doing all these illegal moves, gets disqualified, like just does everything wrong that you can imagine. And then a brawl breaks out, and then he gets flatline KO'd and gets like a facial fracture. I mean, just the craziest just sequence of events. Justin, take it away, because I know you watched this in more detail than I did, and you broke it down. What is your reaction to this?
You know, Wanderlei Silva, 49 years of age, and I was such a fan of Wanderlei Silva. I just love his style. Go forward, you know, live on, die by the sword, live by the sword, die by the sword type of mentality. But coming into this fight with such an egregious overweight, problem, and then throwing headbutts in this fight, I just lost a lot of respect for him. And all I'm going to say about this is play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And Wanderlei Silva deserved everything he got in that fight.
Whew, my God. I'd love to know the reason for the weight miss at the beginning, because I'm sure his opponent and the family was upset. Like, think about it. You know who knocked him out, by the way? It was his opponent's son. It was his opponent's son. Like, I kind of get it, right? Like, if that's your
prizes, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's your dad. He goes in there. He basically cheats with coming in 40 pounds overweight. I'm surprised how did the commission even allow that to take place? But I guess he must have cut more weight. They allowed it to happen. And then he comes in, he's trying to headbutt and basically do that to your dad. Like, I kind of get it. I'm curious to see what the repercussions are for the gentleman who landed the blow. But the thing is, I saw the footage, and it's not like Wanderlei Silva was just stepping back and he was in there. He was looking to throw strikes. So, I mean, like you said, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. It is what it is. But anyways, as we close out the show, that's the last of all of our 8 topics. As we close out the show, what amazingness do we have this weekend? I cannot wait for 320. Like I said, I'll be in transit during the fight, or during most of the card, but I'm going to hopefully be able to catch it at the airport, on the flight, etc., on my way home. So it's still going to be cool. And then right when I get back, I'll be able to watch that main event, whether it's from my phone or from my girlfriend's place. If I get there in time, we shall see. But anyways, Justin, what do you think for this week? Do you think you'll be able to get both the main event and the co-main event, a nice little breakdown for the fans?
I'll do the best I can. So yes, I will.
Hey,
when's the fight? Saturday?
Saturday.
Yeah. I'll have it done by Friday. I'll have them both done by Friday.
All right, guys, there you have it. So be on the lookout. We had Justin break down the last fight, Ulberg versus what's his name, Reyes, and he did a really good job and basically called it perfectly. So hopefully we can get some nice calls and some nice analysis. Once again, I'm looking forward to that as well. That's all we got for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for joining. If you're still on the show and you did like the stream, you haven't clicked that like button yet, if you could click it, it really does help. It goes a long way. So we really appreciate all the engagement and all the likes and all the support. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we will see you again Friday, 1:30 p.m. PST. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you in the next episode. Take it easy.